although there were still some daylight raids being conducted in the summer of 1941, like Operation Wreckage, the attacks on Bremen. Most of Bomber Command's operations were being carried out at night by this point. On the night of the 7th and 8th of July, the main focus was Cologne, with over 100 Wellingtons flying there. Another target, the raid on which is today's focus, was Münster in northwestern Germany. Of the 49 Wellingtons to bomb that city, one was flown by Squadron Leader Widowson of 75 Squadron. Over the Zuider Zee on the way back home, the aircraft was attacked by a Bf-110, wounding the gunner, knocking out the hydraulics, and setting the starboard engine afire. Leaking fuel threatened to spread the fire over the wing. The crew tore a hole in the Wellington's fuselage and tried to extinguish it, but could not do so. It looked like they would have to bail out. The bomber's second pilot, Sergeant Jimmy Ward, a 22-year-old New Zealander, then decided to climb onto the wing and try to smother the fire with a spare cockpit cover. For safety, a rope was tied to him, held at the other end by his crewmates, and he kept on his parachute. Although he had to be convinced to do this, he wanted to minimize wind resistance and take it off. He climbed out of the fuselage onto the wing, and from there crawled out to behind the engine, where he pushed the cockpit cover into the hole from which the fire came. This was unsuccessful, as the cover kept being blown back out again and was finally blown right off the wing. With little else he could do, Sergeant Ward crawled back inside the Wellington. The fire burned itself out on the way home, although the crew got a bit of a scare later when a puddle of fuel in the wing suddenly caught fire, but just as suddenly died down again. The bomber eventually made it back to base at Feltwell. This was another very quick VC, gazetted on the 5th of August, after less than a month. Sergeant Ward, who had enlisted just a year earlier and had only arrived at the squadron in mid-June, would unfortunately have a short war. Made first pilot of his own crew soon after this raid, he was almost shot down on the 13th of September and had to return to base early. 2 days later, over Hamburg, he was shot down.